Hello there, I'm Brenda Gonzalez, and I am talking about one of the five most important Stephen Krashen's hypotheses. And the one that I liked the most is the affective filter hypothesis. Um, it is important to mention that in this video I'm going to be focusing on the second language learning or second language acquisition. So it's for just for second language. All right, so to start, I would like to explain what is the affective filter. At least for me, the affective filter is the barrier that every student has, so it can be easy or difficult for them to understand a new language. For example, here in the purple line, we have the comprehensible input. I will say that the comprehensible input is a meaningful learning that the teacher wants the student to have. So, as you see in the green color, the barrier, it is a barrier. It's green. So I see the affective filter as a barrier. If the barrier or the affective filter is low, then the comprehensible input or the meaningful learning will easily arrive to the lab, to the brain. But if the affective filter is high or the barrier is high, then the comprehensible input will crash in the barrier, so it won't get to the brain. I wrote here lab because remember we were talking about a language acquisition device. Even though nobody knows exactly where it is, we can know, well, the hypothesis mentions that there is a lab in our brain, even though they don't know where exactly. Then, some variables that can affect our affective filter or our students' affective filter. First of all, the environment. The environment, we have to mention that you have to create a good environment with your students, so it will be easier for them to understand the language. Also, the motivation, for example, I consider that it has to be very much with the environment. If there is a good environment, then there will be a good motivation or maybe something interesting for them, for your students. It will be motivate them to learn a new language. Also, the self-confidence. The self-confidence is important because if you have a good environment, you won't be um, you won't be asking your students again and again, so they could fail, and that could be bad for your students' affective filter. And the last one will be anxiety. There could be some more, but anxiety because if you ask your students to do a lot of things, they will be anxious. They will be anxious, and that couldn't help you as teacher to to teach correctly. Then this is an important part, or yeah, part. We acquire, and I wrote this acquire in orange because we were talking about new language acquisition, not learning in this case, but acquisition. You have to be very clear with that, the difference between acquire and learn. So we acquire when we when we obtain comprehensible input, as I mentioned before, in a low anxiety situation or a good environment, as I mentioned before also, and when are presented with interesting messages, as I told you, for example, with the motivation and when the self-confidence. So it will be interesting for your students and also for you. And I will say that's the most important thing I would like to share with you about the affective filter hypothesis. Thank you.